A very good morning to one and all present. I, Dr. Anusaya Kapoor Yadav, Assistant Professor, feel privileged to welcome you all on behalf of Amity Institute of Rehabilitation Sciences, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, at the prestigious panel discussion titled Legal Inheritance Rights of Women with Disabilities. Disability rights cannot be guaranteed in a context that does not affirm the equality of all women. Given that women with disabilities are some of the most marginalized segments of a community, a recognition of the multiple identities of women needs to be catered to, and how that can construct their experiences of multiple forms of discrimination will help shape better development programs and right-based laws and policy. With immense respect, we wish to offer our sincere gratitude to our respected founder, President, Sir Chairman, AKC Group, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan. Dr. Chauhan has always believed in the policy of lending one eye on vision and one eye on implementation. We also wish to put forward our sincere gratitude to our dynamic Chancellor, Amity University, Dr. Atul Chauhan. Under his dynamic and inspirational leadership and passion to excel, the Amity Education Group of institutions has seen a phenomenal growth. We also pay our sincere respect to our most versatile Honorable Vice Chancellor Madam, Professor Dr. Balwinder Shukla, who has always supported and stood with us in all our endeavors in the field of disability and rehabilitation sciences. May I please now invite and request Professor Dr. Jayanti Pujari, Director, Amity Institute of Rehabilitation Sciences and Dean, Faculty of Rehabilitation Sciences, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, to kindly address the august gathering and give an overview of the panel discussion. Professor Dr. Jayanti Pujari, please.
Thank you, Anusha. A very good morning to one and all. On behalf of Amity Institute of Rehabilitation Sciences, I extend a very warm welcome to all in this important webinar. Amity Institute of Rehabilitation Sciences is a premier organization of Amity University, which is committed for preparing human resource in the field of disability rehabilitation. Other than disability preparing human resource, as Amity is a research-driven university, AIRS also focuses on research and publications in the field of disability rehabilitation. And this webinar, this is a part of a research study by in collaboration with the National Commission for Women, NCW, where we have to collect data for Pan India about the legal challenges of legal inheritance. Before I go into detail, I first and foremost I place on record my heartfelt gratitude to our founder president sir, honorable founder president sir, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, our chancellor Dr. Atul K. Chauhan, and our eminent educationist, our vice chancellor Professor Balwinder Shukla. I extend a very warm welcome to all. First of all, we are very honored to have very esteemed panelists with us, very doyens in the disability rehabilitation field, who has changed the policies, one part of the policy maker and change maker in India. I heartfelt gratitude to our dearest Sri T.D. Dharyal sir for accepting our invitation and becoming a part of this panel discussion. I welcome you, sir. Am I audible, Anisha?
Ma'am, kindly be little louder. Please be little louder.
Okay. Our next panelist is Dr. Aloka Guha. Thank you, ma'am, and welcome to this important panel discussion. Thank you for accepting our request. And then we have another panelist in this panel discussion, Sri Subhash Chandra Vasisht, who has wide knowledge about this area, who is an advocate also. Welcome, Mr. Subhash Chandra Vasisht, to this panel discussion. Then our next panelist is Sri Jitendra P.S. Solanki, who is a certified financial planner for the special needs children. Jitendra ji, welcome to this panel discussion. And I also welcome our guest of honor, representative from NCW, Sri Ashutosh Pandey, Senior Research Officer for this panel discussion. This is an interdisciplinary research team, and I welcome the research team of Amity and other states. I also extend a very warm welcome to the participants of this panel discussion. As we know, women with a disability faces with a double challenge, and every time it comes, the ultimate rehabilitation is the resettlement of their future. And all the more the family and parents of persons with disability, always they worry about their future resettlement. And when we say about women with a disability, it is all the more important. So it is very important when our students, the future rehabilitation professionals, the existing rehabilitation professionals must know the area of what are the legal inheritance rights of women with a disability, which is not covered in any of the training program. And it is such an important aspect. We feel, Amity Institute of Rehabilitation feels that we should orient the future rehabilitation professional in this area so that they can able to guide and work towards this for the empowering women with disability. Without taking much time, I would now like to request our Dr. S.K. Srivastav, Senior Director and Vice President and Advisor to Founder President Office, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, to give an introduction to the concept and overview of legal inheritance rights of women with DAW in India. Thank you. And over to you, Srivastav sir. Thank you very much for joining. So can we now start with Sampurna with the panelist introduction, and then after that, by the time sir will come, without wasting time.
Sure.
Yeah. May I invite Dr. Sampurna Guha to introduce our esteemed panel.
Thank you, madam. It's indeed a great privilege for me to introduce this galaxy of panelists. Shri T.D. Dharyal sir, ex-State Commissioner for Persons with Disabilities, Delhi Government. I'll just share the screen too. Shri T.D. Dharyal sir has served as the Commissioner for Persons with Disabilities, Government of NCT of Delhi. He has worked as advisor, disability inclusion and mainstreaming in CBM. Sir holds a master's degree in economics and business administration from University of Hull, United Kingdom. Shri Dharyal worked as a civil servant for more than 3 decades in the Ministries of Defense, Home, Shipping, Social Justice and Empowerment. He was also Deputy Chief Commissioner for Persons with Disabilities in Government of India till 2014. Sir has been actively working to help persons with disabilities to secure their rights and entitlements, and the organizations to implement laws and policies for empowerment of persons with disabilities. We welcome you, sir, to this webinar session. Shri Subhash Chandra Vasisht, Director, Center for Accessibility in Building Environment, Foundation, Specialist in Accessibility, Universal Design and Diversity Inclusion. Sir is a lawyer and a specialist in accessibility, universal design and diversity inclusion. He is a certified accessibility professional with CPABE Level 3 international certification, the first of its kind in India. He was also on the core committee of Ministry of Urban Development, Government of India on development of barrier-free
Yes, madam, I have
environments
joined now. I think I am not muted now. Yes, I have joined.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
for elderly and the disabled. He is a veteran in the Indian Air Force and holds a master's degree in industrial relations and personal management, social work, and a PG diploma in developmental therapy. A hearty welcome to you, sir. Dr. Aloka Guha, former chairperson, National Trust, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India. Madam has served as the chairperson, National Trust for Persons with Autism, Cerebral Palsy, Intellectual Disability, and Multiple Disability, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India. She is a senior rehabilitation consultant with the Rehabilitation Council of India, having a rich experience spanning several decades of work in working with individuals with disabilities and their families. She has also chaired several sessions and written several prestigious articles for prestigious publications. We are privileged to have you amongst us today, ma'am. Mr. Jitender P.S. Solanki, Certified Financial Planner for Children with Special Needs. Sir is a certified financial planner who works with children and adults with autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, and other developmental disabilities and their families. Sir holds a MBA in finance, is a certified financial planner, a chartered trust and estate planner who acts as a resource person in several prestigious events, regularly training parents and caregivers towards financial planning and their empowerment. We welcome you, sir, to this webinar session. Ma'am, handing over the
Yeah,
mic.
yeah. Thank you, Dr. Sampurna. Uh, I think our Dr. Srivastava sir will join. May we request Dr. Srivastava sir for a just brief introduction about
Good morning to all. So should I start my
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
okay,
Your
okay.
address,
I
sir.
warmly welcome to all of you, including my very senior, very renowned panelist on this very nice topic of legal inheritance of rights of women with disabilities. In fact, this is aligned to be focused in terms of women with disabilities. Otherwise, legal inheritance rights are equal for all the women or all the children or all the persons whosoever it is. There is no discrimination on the basis of disability. The only thing that when it is focused, then they are not deprived of if we take care of them. If we go back to this history of this word, we'll find that in the Transfer of Property Act or the Succession Act, something like that, there is equal provision for all men and women. That includes disabled persons also, person with disabilities also. There is no discrimination on the ground of disability. The only thing that because of their impairment or disability or some problem in their mental or physical body, sometimes they are deprived and they don't know about their right and they don't aspire for that. So when we aware this issue in the society or in the stakeholders, at least it is ensured that whatever right is inherited to all women in the country, that should be given to the women with disabilities also at par. So it is nothing very something extra to be given on the basis of their disability so far inheritance is concerned, because I was consulting RPD Act study in this term. So I found that there is nothing very special. The only thing they addressed in the act that it should their rights also should be protected. Protected means if we ignore these ladies on the basis of their impairment or disability, the basic is basically sometimes they are when they are ID, when they are challenged intellectually, when they don't know about their rights and they don't have the voice, then there is a major issue. Either it may be lady or it may be gents. So legal inheritance, which is equally given to all women and men, should be given to the ladies with disabilities, women with disabilities, and that is also addressed. I was referring to the act that in chapter 2, where legal rights and entitlements are given, there is a section 13, that is legal capacity, that defines very clearly that legal capacity, government shall ensure that the person with disabilities, that includes women with disabilities, have right equally with others. This is a very, notable term, that equally with others, to own or inherit property, movable or immovable, control their financial affairs, and have access to bank loans, mortgages, and other forms of financial credit. Now, this is important that they should be given. All the time we are focusing that anybody should not be deprived on the basis of their disability, on the basis of their ability. Means he or she is not able to do this, so he is deprived. The only thing it goes when we identify some jobs for them. But so far inheritance is concerned, succession is concerned, they have got equal rights, and it should be ensured. And I thank to Professor Jayanti Narayan, who has chosen such a nice topic, because this is also year of women empowerment in terms of the global summit and all those government of India initiative. You might have seen that is a large focus. First, come the women with challenge women with disabilities. The legal inheritance, the rights of women with disabilities. We all have the duty, moral duty, morally bound, legally bound, to ensure that whatever their counterpart gets equally, the legal rights should be imparted, should be given to the women who are challenged in any way. So this is a good seminar, good initiative. On the basis of this initiative, at least the message will be, disseminated, percolated amongst those who sometimes feel that this lady, what will she do when she is not mentally fit for this property? So this cannot be done. Everybody knows that now onwards, the men and women, son and daughter, has got the equal rights now in the property, in the succession. So now government of India, when focused about the girls in the succession, that got include the girl with disability also. So the only thing we need all time to think that no one should be deprived, including women with disabilities, only on the basis of their impairment. It may be physical or it may be mental. Don't hurt your soul to deprive such persons on the basis of disability. When you are pure, when you are duty bound, when you are correct in yourself, you will never think of depriving anybody merely on the ground of disability. I'm very thankful to very esteemed panelist, my friend, my senior, Dr. Dharyal, my mentor, you can say, Aloka Madam, and other two very senior, and Sri Jitendra ji, whom I know, he might be knowing me, and other advocates have. So she has chosen very intellectual panel, very intelligent people, very renowned people. I hope this seminar will go very well. I'm very sorry I could not join 15 minutes back because of the network issue and my personal problem that I have shared with Professor Jayanti Narayan. But I'll be all with you in the seminar, but I'll take leave for 10-15 minutes right now. And I'll come again to join the seminar. Thank you all. My good wishes, best wishes for the success of the seminar and the objective to be met after the seminar is over. Thank you. Thank you, Anusuya ji. Thank you, Sampurna. Thank you, Jayanti madam. Thank you, all panelists. I'll join you all you back again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for sparing your time, though you are so busy and in the
No, not
hometown.
at all.
Thank you so
Today
much.
I'm not busy.
And you very rightly you have pointed out that rights to be protected, but this word protected is have a lot of meaning. Who, where, and how all these things by which agency. And I think this panel discussion will definitely enlighten us about the how the rights has to be protected of the legal inheritance
Right.
of the women with disability.
The only thing, if you permit, madam, I remember the only thing, one thing I wish to point out here. I was going through the act, and again and again I saw one important thing, that in the National Trust Act there was a provision of legal guardianship. In the case of the person who are unable to take their own decisions, there is a provision of appointing legal guardians. Earlier, it was a legal guardian in general term, but when the Right of Person with Disabilities Act 2000 came into effect, now the legal guardianship has been redefined for the particular purpose only. That is the, there is a term in legal guardianship for a particular purpose, legal guardianship appointed for that purpose and for the definite time. It cannot now be for indefinite time for any person. When the purpose is solved, the legal guardianship is already automatically dissolved. So it is very important thing that I was saying that. So whosoever is the legal guardian of such ladies who are suffering from disability, he has also to note it down that for particular purpose he can be the guardian, but he cannot be guardian for all purposes in general terms now onwards. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll
Thank
listen
you,
all
sir.
of you
Thank you
again.
so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
Well, once again, welcome to all. And now it is time to start the panel discussion. With the permission of all our panelists, we would now go for the panel discussion. Before going to the any other specific questions, may I now request all our panelists to elaborate about the challenges of legal inheritance rights for women with disability and their parents. To start with, may I request our esteemed panelist, Dr. Aloka ma'am, to come forward and please elaborate, ma'am, what are the challenges existing, because you are in the National Trust and you have a lot of policies and legislation. You are the part of it, and you have also worked in different areas. And we are very excited to listen to you, ma'am. And may I request, over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pujari, and everybody from Amity. I think one of the important points I want to raise first is that, as Mr. Srivastav mentioned, that no law specifically excludes women with disabilities in terms of inheritance laws, but that is de jure. What happens de facto in the field is exactly the opposite. Now, there has been in the last decade or so some interest, limited interest, in actually coming out with research papers, with studies in low and middle income countries, including India, where women with disabilities are actually being sidelined, neglected for inheritance. And why is inheritance important? Because so much of India is agricultural land, and land is wealth. And wealth brings you into a social status, and you become someone in the community if you own land. So owning of agricultural land, owning of property enhances a woman with disability, and also takes you out of the poverty cycle. So a lot of research now links poverty with lack of inheritance and not possessing or owning property. That's point number one. Point number two is that women with disabilities are at multiple jeopardies and intersectionalities, much more than men with disabilities. And why is that? Because women with disabilities are not included either in the gender debate, which actually is only in the fourth round that intersectionalities were included, nor are they included in the disability construct, where their gender is dictated almost wholly by men. So, na ihaka, na wahaka. This is the situation of women with disabilities. And what are the intersectionalities we're talking about here? We're talking about being a woman, having a disability, living in a rural area, not having education, and also within this construct of disability, women with intellectual disabilities and women with mental disabilities are even further invisibilized. They're further abused, exploited, and discriminated against. So even within the women with disabilities narrative, there is further discrimination against women with mental illness and women with intellectual disability. Their property rights particularly are not always given to them, and multiple reasons are found as to why this discrimination exists. The next point I want to make is the debate, I think, started with the UNCRPD, the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. And I had, as Chairperson National Trust at that time, I had an opportunity to represent Government of India at the UNCRPD discussions and debates. And inheritance was a very, very clear Article 12.5 talks specifically about very clear rights to own property and to deal with one's own financial matters. Although it is also mentioned in the preamble, it is mentioned in 38 and so on. As far as RPWD is concerned, as Srivastava mentioned, certain sections, particularly the civil rights, Article 13 is about legal capacity, because until you push your legal capacity and understanding of it, you cannot access other rights. So without that understanding that every person is equal before the law, men, women, no bar, and disability not a bar, unless that understanding of Article 13, 14, 15, 16, and all these rights, human rights are interlinked, interconnected, and interdependent. So an understanding of these laws, parts of the UNCRPD, the RPWD Act. In fact, as far as RPWD Act is concerned, I specifically want to mention a judgment in 2021 on, and if I could show you that judgment, I have it somewhere here. Yeah, it is this judgment which I want to draw your attention to. It is Vikash Kumar versus the Union Public Service Commission and others. Very, very good understanding, and it's a very recent judgment. It's worth reading and worth understanding by everybody how to apply the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act from the point of view of reasonable accommodation. If we look at disability as an issue that needs to be remedied, then we have to create those conditions affirmatively in which people can be treated as equal. So, and the most important point in that judgment is the concept of reasonable accommodation, which is actually mentioned in the RPWD Act about 5-6 times. And this applies not only to education and health, etc., but also to inheritance laws. So these are some of the points I want to make right in the beginning. In terms of challenges, having been part of the National Trust Act and having lobbied for it for 10 years, I come from a position where parents are always concerned, especially with women with disabilities, because with this group of women with autism, intellectual disability, etc., there is this constant worry that parents have, what after me? There is this immense sexual abuse by even family members, extended family members, by community members. Sometimes when the mother is a widow, she herself cannot raise a voice because she's dependent on her other sons to be able to survive. So she knows what is happening, but she does not have the strength, the power to object. She herself is not a co-personally. This is even after the 2005 amendment to the Hindu Succession Act. A lot of women in the rural areas are not given their birthright as women, and especially if they're women with intellectual disability. So that challenge by parents is huge when it comes to these particular disabilities, where one considers, but there is a presumption, there's a pervasive presumption of incompetence. And that's what really, really needs to change. And so some of the challenges I will talk about when I come to the specific questions. And with these 4-5 points, I will conclude my opening remarks. And thank you again, Dr. Pujari, for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. You have wonderfully brought out all the points of the concept, like what are the, like how the rights to be protected and what are the laws and how it is implemented in India. We will come back to you with the challenges in the question and answer round. And now I would request Subhash Chandra Vasisht, kindly please give your perspective on this legal inheritance rights of women with disabilities. Over to you, Subhash.
Madam Pujari, your voice is not very clear.
Oh, I don't know.
Perhaps, yeah. Probably the IT people can help you.
Yeah, Sampurna, you can go take forward.
Yes, ma'am. Surely, ma'am.
Sampurna, you can invite Subhash Chandra Vasisht ji.
Yes. Welcome, sir, to the panel discussion. And as Madam said, we would definitely like to know your views about the challenges of legal inheritance rights for women with disabilities and their parents. So, sir, seeing your expertise as a director, Center for Accessibility, please share your views with us.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. I think this is such a timely initiative by the Amity University. Women with disabilities in general, I would say women in general and women with disabilities in particular, we have experienced that are significantly and a largely unrecognized contributor to their own indigence and their own situations. Women have been facing it for a long time, despite the amendment in the Hindu Succession Act and the constitutional mandate of equality. And today, yes, the women are considered as co-partner. I'm talking of in general. Any disabled woman is a woman, and they are considered as per law. Law is there. We have done sufficiently well in terms of law. But when it comes to its implementation, here are largely the challenges. The denial of inheritance is, I mean, to us and to people working in this sector, is both a social justice issue and also a practice that you can't overlook anymore. I mean, this has been in existence for long for women. And if you look at, I mean, just give you one example. It's also on how people perceive persons with disabilities or women with disabilities. Dr. Guha has succinctly brought it out. The major challenge is the perception in people. So there is a presumption of incapacity. And that is what the law seeks to challenge, and law seeks to set right, that this does not need to be presumed. And how do we do that? This is a major challenge, because very often what is happening is the authorities created under the law in general in the country are so difficult to reach. There are procedural barriers for people. And for persons or women with disabilities, there are three, I would say there are three areas where, because of which they very often get stuck. One, that they are not educated. Second, they're dependent, because they're financially dependent or they're physically dependent. So then they're not able to access the court system. I'll come to a section later in the law itself, I would say in section 15, yes, section 15 of the RPWD Act. It actually provides for designation of authorities to support so that persons with disabilities could exercise their rights. We don't see it being implemented on the ground. And that's another reason, because when social perceptions do not help, the only need is, and the dire need is of creating awareness. Law is there. You have a mechanism available, but then those mechanisms are not put to place because not many people reach here. And there's often saying, unless you demand for it, you don't get it. Even a mother doesn't feed a child unless the child cries. It's that segment. The families of women with disabilities or persons with disabilities in general, they are all the time, so busy in handling the issues, in care, in protection, in all other matters, and worrying about the future of the children, that they are not able to really advocate. And here there's a larger role of authorities to support. And Section 15 essentially provides for this, that the government will designate one or more authorities to mobilize the community and create social awareness to support persons with disabilities in exercise of the legal capacity. Now, if you see, where are these authorities? So if I look at the legal system, right now we just have the Legal Services Authorities Act, which has a provision where persons with disabilities could go for free and sort of seek support and ask for an appointment lawyer, present their case. But how many people are even aware of their own rights? How many people have capacities to visit the office of the Legal Services Authorities and get a suitable lawyer, and who would fight the case? So the whole system actually currently is very weak. It actually doesn't exist as of today, which can actually support people with women with disabilities with support in enjoying the legal capacity. And this becomes even critical, even complicated when there are disabilities of intellect and disabilities of, say, mental illness or social these disabilities. This becomes really, really critical. And see, the people from whom you seek support in ordinary times, it is the family members. And when it comes to an inheritance, you're actually put against those family members. This is another challenge. Third point that I always come across is, women with disabilities. The situation is, look at the status in the community. They are mostly unmarried because of disability, and since they're unmarried, and that happens also with men, that they're taken for granted many a time. We have seen so many cases coming to us where we see, okay, he is disabled, theek hai, wo kya karega, uska to, we are helping him, we are supporting him, we are feeding him, so eventually all his rights are ours. So it is literally others people observe within the family, observe the rights of persons with disabilities. And in case of women with disabilities, it is even more acute. So they are not even considered as a co-partner or somebody who will insist on rights. There another expectation in the community that women in general, no, I'm not talking about disabled women, that they will forget their rights in favor of their brothers and the other male members. And this is in practice. More women are, we have come across more women simply sign the NOCs and they don't even claim their rights. So this setup needs to change. Unless we change the setup, and these are social perception, they are so deep in the community, and a lot of awareness is needed, a lot of groundwork is needed. Section 15 need to be activated. We don't see so many. I would say complete absence of designation of authorities who are doing their work appropriately. There is absolutely none. Section 15 remains unimplemented even today. It talks of setting up suitable support arrangements. So such support arrangements are completely, wherever they exist, you can't reach them, or they're so difficult to provide support. So I think I would, because a lot of it has been spoken by Dr. Guha, so I'll just stop it here. Maybe I'll come in whenever there's a need. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for pointing out the need for more accessibility with authorities, with the family. So very rightly pointed out, sir. Thank you for sharing your views with us. Now I would like to invite Shri T.D. Dharyal, sir, for the kind expert views on what you feel, sir, are the challenges faced by women with disabilities in their legal rights. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everybody, and Happy New Year. Madam Maloka Guha, seeing you after so many, I think, years. So nice to see you. And we always need your blessings. And of course, knowledge sharing is so important. Thanks to Madam Jayanti Pujari and MT University, Srivastaji and all, for thinking of this subject. Such an important thing, it didn't occur most to us. Even during the time when we're drafting the RBWD Act, it didn't occur to anyone that women with disabilities will face this problem. It's a real problem, not only for women with disabilities, but for all the women, rich or poor, educated or less educated, for various reasons. For poorer people, for tribal people, for scheduled castes and other people, it could be the stigma. For other people, it could be something very, very unusual thing for a woman to even ask for her rights, inheritance rights. It's a taken for granted. It's a general practice in our society that when the parents die, it's but natural that the property goes to the sons. There is a legal requirement that when that property is distributed among brothers and family members, every legal heir is required to sign. And everybody takes it for granted that all these sisters or women in the family would simply sign. So that is the status. We are living in that kind of, say, environment. Now, I would like to take you a little back. I was surprised that in 1928 itself, the practice of disqualifying disabled, I'm not saying disabled women, disabled to inherit, to enjoy those inheritance rights was removed. So before that, it was there. It was clearly mentioned in the law that the disabled people, sick people are not eligible, are not capable of inheriting property, right? So in 1928, this was removed. That amendment was brought. And in 56, you have, then in 56, then in 2005 amendment. After so many years, the law had to be amended in 2005. And there were a lot of issues, a lot of resistance. Even after 2005 amendment, people said, okay, the girl, the women who were born before 2005, this law would not be applicable to them. So what it shows, that the resistance, the mindset of the male-dominated communities. Not only male-dominated, even the women would, senior women in a house, would not expect the younger ones to demand their rights. So that is what my observation is. What Subhas said is so real, so practical, and in fact, it's a real thing that happens because many cases come to him as a lawyer. I too have this kind of observations. Srivastav had, must have had. Madam ko pata hai kitna kathin hai. And for me, I mean, एक नहीं बहुत सारे हमारे पास ऐसे cases आए थे. Not now, but when I was long back in a CCPD office, then also a lady came. The brothers were not ready to give her the right to the house that the parents had left after their death. And the brothers were saying, अरे हम इनको तो रखने में हमें इसको इनको रखने में कोई दिक्कत नहीं, इनको एक कमरा दिया हुआ है. I mean, nobody, even that women did not think of, उस मकान को या उस कमरे को उनके नाम पे कर. They say, as long as they allow me to stay in the house, I have no problem. Then we had to say, as Deputy Chief Commissioner, I had to say, no, this is your right, madam. I mean, this illiterate person, it is your right. आपके नाम पे होना चाहिए. कल कुछ. So these are the practical things. One, we have to. One is of course the awareness, creation of awareness of what your right is. Not only among the people, I mean, women with disabilities, but also those who are not with disabilities and their family members. The co-owners of the property, they have to be informed and made. I mean, they should be made to realize. वो तो दिमाग में जाता है नहीं ना, वो दिमाग में डालना ही जरूरी मेरे ख्याल से. That awareness campaign has to be there for awareness, and then the people, the right holders have to come up, have to change their mindset. No, I should ask for it. So that's one. And then as far as the law is concerned, say the main law as on date, even I would say, I think UNCRPD के समय में भी women inheritance of property अच्छी तरह से clearly नहीं आया है. ठीक है, उसमें भी नहीं आया है. क्योंकि उसमें नहीं आया, इसलिए हमारे RPWD एक्ट में भी हमने इनहेरिटेंस की बात नहीं करी है. Thinking that we already have a principal law, an act which is uniformly, which is applicable uniformly irrespective of the gender. लेकिन जेंडर को जो intersectionality मैडम ने बोला था, वो intersectionality को if we had appreciated, then perhaps और चीजें जो हमने इन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में ऑलरेडी है और एक्ट में ऑलरेडी है, फिर भी हमने RPWD एक्ट में उन चीजों को डाला. इस चीज को भी डालना चाहिए था, नहीं डाला. But fortunately we have equality between men and women. और दूसरा चीज क्या है कि law in rights of persons with disabilities act, which I like, is that social security में जहां आप बोलते हैं कि that you will, the act says, section 25 says very clearly that for women with disabilities, health से related है, sexual ये इसका है, इन चीजों के लिए, और not property, but social security के लिए you should make, appropriate government is mandated to make those special programs and schemes, so that the interest, then in the allotment of land or house, etc., the women with disabilities will be given priority. This is a very good, this gives the intention of the act, the legislation, and for us to do effective advocacy and read between the lines for the advantage of these people. And then we also perhaps can ask for the guidelines, like the ration card jo banta hai, if there is a woman, the ration card head of the family will be woman. So that makes a lot of difference. And I've seen practically, and in Delhi, एक तो वो women का मैंने बात किया था recently, there was a girl, there is a girl, and Spastic Society, I mean Adi, from Adi, a madam used to bring her to my office in State Commissioner's office. And the problem was they had a house, and her mamas or some people again did not want that house to be on her name. And in fact, they wanted that she should be staying with so-and-so. So this kind of thing, and because she had the support, or probably she was made to, understand this importance of owning the property, she came forward. Otherwise, initially she was hesitating. She's one of the, she has cerebral palsy. She has, I think intellectually she's okay. She has cerebral palsy. And then these people came to me. To some extent we could do, but not fully, because it is a matter that should be, that should go to the civil court. And the special courts have to take it up, as Mr. Subhash said. The things are not there in place. Special courts are not there. That particular section 15 of the RPWD Act, nobody has taken any action on it. I'm sure nobody has taken any action. So that is very important. I think I'll stop here. Otherwise, I'll keep speaking, and people will have no time to speak. So I'll answer the questions.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much, sir, for sharing your rich experience and real case studies with all of us, highlighting the need for change in mindset and the change in very laws. Now, I would like to invite Shri Jitender P.S. Solanki, sir, Certified Financial Planner. Sir, as a planner for financial planner for children with special needs, we would like to know about your views about the challenges in legal inheritance rights for women with disabilities. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, see, lot of things are spoken about Subhaji, Yanji, on what are the challenges on the legal side, about the process, about the system. Now, I've been advising a lot of families. As far as inheritance goes, we are talking about women with disabilities, but in general, even generally also, many people, we are sitting there, we are not knowing about our inheritance laws. Okay, a simple example I tell you, and this is a real life. A family, came to me, and they had a misconception that once the male member dies, everything will automatically goes to wife. On as for inheritance. Now, these are the awareness level of inheritance laws. So as far as awareness is concerned, there is a lot of awareness is required for women. The law has already amended it. The Succession Act 2005 have already amended it. Now daughters are given equal rights before marriage, after marriage on ancestral properties. So the law is there in place. What's not there is the awareness, and because the before 2005 the situation was different, and after 2005 the situation is different, and the women have been given equal rights. So still we are in a scenario where awareness is very low. Now that's on awareness, but I would talk about other aspects. It's not only about awareness, it's about supply side. How many advisors are there who are advising people, families with special needs, or family having a dependent with special needs? I find only, I or some other advisor would be there. Let's look at on the, on estate planning side also. I know a lot of advisors in our community who have, clients as families who have got a special need dependent as their client, a family has got a special need daughter. They are unaware about their requirement. They are not able to advise them. And when they are not able to advise them, where would a family go, if they want to seek advice on their requirements? So if a family is even aware of, the problem comes is, where is the supply available to them? Where are advisors available to them? Be it on financial side or be it on legal side. Are, there are enough lawyers in a community who understand the requirement of, women with disabilities? Are there financial advisors enough available who can advise them? I find no. In fact, I was searching for good lawyers in the community for certain aspect, advising families. I, find it very difficult to find out. So I think, when I look at challenges, yes, they are going through some personal challenges. Their lack of awareness is there. I would say the lack of proper advisory is also there in our industry. There is the, lack of advice which is not there to them, be it on financial or be it on legal side. And I face it day to day, because I have been advising families, and I have been, connected to so many advisors. Advisors are unaware. So why not, not only train, not only aware people, but also, make aware these advisors who are advising families with special need dependent, who have families who have got a special need daughter, a person, a woman with disability. they do not know anything about the requirement. So where would they advise? So at the end, what happens? The family, the advice on the special needs, dependent, it goes towards a backseat. So if I look at the challenges, personally, yes, system, there are challenges. Shivaji has spoken about processes. There are challenges, but I think there are challenges for lack of professionals which has to come. We need people who expertise in this area. We need people who can understand their requirement. We need people who can take it forward and help them, so that tomorrow, if suppose a woman with disability want to seek a proper advice on legal inheritance, where would you go and find a good lawyer? Or even on the financial side, no, we have lack of professionals also. So it's I think the demand is there, the need is there, the supply also has to come in. If we are looking at resolving their issues, resolving their queries, and helping women with disabilities to for their future. So I would say it's on the both sides. It has to come. Being as a professional, so I see that there is a lack of professionals today, and we need more and more professionals.
Thank you, sir, for highlighting the point of need for awareness among the financial planners themselves. So your points are very well taken, sir. And with this, we are coming to an end of the exposure on the theme of the session. I would now like to invite respected Jayanti madam to carry forward the question answer.
Yeah, hope now I am audible.
Yes,
Am I
Yes,
audible?
ma'am. Very clear. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you. And the esteemed panelists, all of them, they have brought out that the legal inheritance is a need of the hour, but the awareness, the knowledge, and the rights are lacking. And we, the stakeholders of rehabilitation professionals, we are only here who can create awareness. So as I would like to ask our Aloka ma'am, ma'am, because we know that there is a need when we are talking that the legal inheritance right. My personal opinion, okay, if the women with disability, all the more women they have the problem in the legal inheritance as such, but where their life they can manage some or other way. But when we come with a woman with a disability, it is really very important that they should be aware about their legal inheritance right, and their rights to be protected and their right to be given. So in this scenario, ma'am, we would like to know, because you have worked so much with these people, how can we like create awareness? How can we, what are the different steps to be taken to solve this problem in a small way at least? Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Pujari. I actually have about 9 specific suggestions, starting with making the legal system itself, both traditional and formal, more accessible to persons with disabilities, if they can, to help them to assert their rights more easily. And this is where the point that I mentioned earlier about reasonable accommodations to be provided to persons. I do know that sometimes now in courts, persons with hearing impairments are provided with sign language specialists and sometimes with special educators. So a beginning has been made, but not so much in the inheritance laws. So this concept of reasonable accommodation as it applies to the law in terms of inheritance, that needs to be, is my first suggestion. And the second is that where disabled people's organizations and mainstream development organizations, governments, non-governments, when we create awareness, let us talk of inheritance as a poverty reduction issue. Let us link the two. And if we are working in poverty reduction, we have to look at empowering women to be able to understand their inheritance rights. And I have one suggestion for Amit University, since you do so much research. Can we look at research and how inheritance drives issues related to continuing inequities across the country? And I hope that even the National Commission for Women will take up a study. Say, for example, Meghalaya. Meghalaya is a matrilineal inheritance. Women automatically inherit property before the men do. So if we can study, create a large study, multi-centric study, both Amity and National Commission for Women, in terms of what are the patterns that we see now, the reality on the ground, and what would be the right remedies to change this situation? Because until we give inheritance rights de facto to women with disabilities, and all these laws will make no sense. Yes, they are not excluded in terms of law, but they are excluded in terms of practice. And I remember a particular case that I want to suggest as a National Trust chairperson. I came across this family in Punjab. The guardianship of women with these 4 disabilities: intellectual, cerebral palsy, autism, and multiple disabilities. This was very much in the news at that time. There's one particular girl who came from a well-to-do family, and we've been talking so far about nobody giving them rights. And this is one case where everybody wanted her custody. This girl with intellectual disability. Why? Because she was part of the family of 5, and their parents had left them a lot of money. So every sister, every brother wanted her guardianship because it would enhance their own personal business base. So we were in a dilemma as to kaha jaun, kisko puchu. Then we asked the girl, and she was reasonably, she was like borderline, but she was about 19, 20 years old. Ki aap kiske saath rehna chahogi? Because everybody's saying, we look after her, but we all knew that ultimate look after her, yes, in terms of food, clothing, shelter, but in other terms, no. So then we asked her, and she said, main badi bhabhi ke saath rehna chahti hu. And she gave a big smile, and she ran across to her badi bhabhi and hugged her and hugged her. And there was a lot of bonding between the two. So sometimes when there is wealth in the family, this taking over of legal guardianship. And the third point I want to make here is that how do parents ensure that their daughters' inheritance rights are protected? Well, look for legal guardianship in the National Trust Act, and that is still valid. Despite the limited guardianship in RPWD, both are parallel. So you apply for legal guardianship, and with the district magistrate, you give an account of your property. That includes immovable and movable property, and that then becomes more protected. I would also like to say that concentrate on education for girls with disabilities. Start early, continue for as long as is possible, because without education rights being realized, other rights cannot, I repeat, cannot be realized. You can write about the SDG 4, you can write about everything on earth, but until the girl on the ground is educated, she does not know of her other rights. And particularly when you're creating awareness, please make room, open the door for women with intellectual disabilities and those with mental illness. They are the most deprived, the most invisibilized. And actually, I'm not sure that this is the right forum to say it, but I think a uniform civil code will be very, very useful. The Christians have their own laws, inheritance laws. Muslims have their own inheritance laws. We have Hindu succession acts. But unless there is understanding and uniformity between these laws, then women with disabilities, and specifically mentioning them, will continue to suffer. I want to say that the other point I wanted to make here is that Article 13 that Mr. Srivastav talked about, that I talked about access to justice, that needs to be expanded. And in Article 14, 19, and 21 of the Constitution, that too needs to be expanded and greater understanding of that needs to be created in all legal proceedings. And Article 12.5 is not completely copied in the RPWD Act, but we can create pressure across the country to ensure that one amendment to the RPWD Act, including inheritance rights equally for men and women with disabilities, is included. So these are my 9 points that I made, and I hope that you will, as Amity University is not only one of the best in the country, but also the most proactive in many ways. And with Jayanti Pujari there as the head, having taken this initiative, Dr. Jayanti, I think you can take this further and create a really good research program and look at the findings and share that with all of us. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you, ma'am. And you have really touched the chord that the inheritance should be poverty reduction issues. Everything it centers around the livelihood of the child and poverty reduction. And ma'am, thank you for suggesting that research. And in this research also, we will be giving the suggestions. And as Amity University also, we will be taking up this cross-sectional study, what you have said that about this inheritance right across India. And thank you for enlightening us the different areas where we can really, as a rehabilitation professional also, through our students will take it over, and we will, and here there are many parents also are the participants, ma'am, because we have our research team in Puducherry, in Rajasthan, in Haryana, in Odisha. So they have also, their parents also have joined. So they must have really, they have got all the information, and they all are waiting for the queries, question and answer session to clarify their queries from you. Na? And now we'll thank you so much once again. And now I'll move to our next panelist, Subhash Chandraji. Can you, the question for you is, can you please elaborate how the accessing, like so madam said, there are laws, but everything comes in the implementation and education. So according to your experience and all, what are the different challenges in accessing the legal inheritance rights of women with disability? Over to you, sir, Subhash Chandraji.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So, madam, I would say any law is as vibrant as its users. Best of laws can remain in this statute book and they never put to implementation. We had seen this happening for initial 5 years with the earlier law in 95. But thankfully with a lot of awareness that people are using the current law. So the law has to be used if we need the vibrancy, if we need the implementation on the ground. So for me, I think much has been said by Dr. Guha. I would stick to that we need more platforms to ensure that the various articles of the UN Convention, particularly access to justice and the one that talks about equal recognition of law, which is Article 12, which provides for just 2 areas, which is that recognition that people enjoy legal capacity, and second is appropriate measures. So this appropriate measures to provide access to these rights is somewhere in the doldrum. It's somewhere, not available to people, is falling in the cracks. And we need to do this in the current law, that is RPWD Act, or under its rules, and simultaneously also be addressing the Legal Services Authorities Act, which also sort of is a platform. It's a very strong platform. It's had a lot of funds also to provide that kind of support. So what kind of framework it should have? So that is currently completely missing. I remember we were doing this accessibility guidelines for the University Grants Commission for all the institutions and universities. And what we came across was that when students enter the education system, there is no assessment that happens. If you look at the countries like US and other places, whenever there is a benefit that accrues to a person with disability, there is an assessment of that person's needs. For example, somebody is applying for a metro card. I'm just giving an example. Somebody is applying for a metro card. The person's needs are assessed. His status is assessed. His communication needs are assessed. His physical needs are assessed. So in very similar terms, if there could be a framework of a support platforms, multiple support platforms, not one, we could create multiple support platforms, and which could be from various focal points that we have currently in the law, where there is a framework of not just the assessment. At district level, we have all data of persons with disabilities, also women with disabilities. What is the current status? What are their specific needs? What kind of reasonable accommodation they may need? What are the communication needs? What are additional support that the person needs? The law has system of high support system. I mean, the third category of people who high support needs and assessment thereof, and then supporting them with finances and with other measures, but it is not seeing the ground. I mean, it's not being implemented on the ground. We have very small amount of pension. I would say even that pension is helping a lot of families. And with that, there's a lot of respect for persons with disabilities in the family, where they're getting that money in the household. But what I'm trying to say is, if we can create a framework of support systems within the existing laws, one is the Disability Act and other one is the Legal Services Authorities Act, and using the existing system that we also have in the National Trust Act as the local level committees that Madam Guha also spoke about. If we can utilize these platforms to extend this support and ensure that all such people are in touch with these platforms. So there's a mechanism that these platforms are able to reach out at the district level or at the block level to such people and to these needy women with disabilities or persons with disabilities in general, so that there is a status report, at that level. So that kind of framework is somewhere needed. And this framework also need to be enabled with all systems of assessment of that individual and their needs, and providing those measures to support that person. For example, in decision making, there is a need. So is there a special educator? Is there in communication, there's a gap. Is there a person who can help with communication? If you need a special educator in that board, can there be such a mechanism? If there is a presumption of somebody has a vested right, or somebody has an interest in the person's property, and the persons happen to be a family member. If you look at the law, RBWD Act section 13 actually says both, and I see that this is coming from a lot of concerns for family members themselves, because in case of persons with intellectual disabilities, it ends up that it is family members or it is parents who are responsible. So you will see section 13.3 and the proviso are a little self-contradictory. I'll just read out to you, because section 13, which talks about legal capacities, is when a conflict of interest arises between a person providing support and a person with disability in a particular financial, property, or other economic transaction, and then such supporting person shall abstain from providing support to the person with disability in that transaction. So if I take this inheritance cases as a transaction, the conflict of interest exists within the family, because all of the people are shareholders and they have an interest in the property, and they have an interest also on property of the person who may not be able to act, who may not be able to defend. And sometimes may have with use of force and with use of abuse, that you could just do away with the person and the person won't be able to claim it. Then the provision said that there shall not be a presumption of conflict of interest on the basis that the supporting person is related to a person with disability by blood, affinity, or adoption. So I see in what circumstances this provision was added, but very often legal inheritance becomes a family issue. No neighbor is interested to poke their nose in. No relative is interested, अरे उनका घर का मामला है, हमें क्या, और हम नहीं ज्यादा कुछ कर सकते. NGOs are very often feel threatened by the powerful family members. I have come across several such cases where NGOs having intervened were sort of threatened and use of force was done. Similarly, because people are not able to reach to the legal platforms, organizations and the platforms such as this are also not able to help. So there's a as I say, verbalizing the need sometimes is missing, and because of which the platforms are not able to act. And very often they're reluctant or very late to act. In such a situation, we need to, as I said, we need to have this framework, which is self-going, where there's a mechanism of automatic updations of the status of such people, say every month or every 3 months, there is a update. These frameworks are needed. And then we need to also enable these platforms so that they look at issues of inheritance on priority, or look at issues of women on priority. Activation of special courts is one among them. Supporting the state commissioners for persons with disabilities and chief commissioner for persons with disabilities. And we have seen sometimes, because states are so big, people cannot reach the capital of that state. So there has to be, in the district, there has to be some extension of that in the block level, that we have an extension of that office, of support office, so that people are able to reach. And can we use technology to do that? That physically you can't reach, with use of technology, can we reach out to such people? So this kind of framework, I suggest, is the solution. We have looked at so many challenges, but this is the way forward. Awareness raising, of course, goes hand in hand, not just of families, but also of people around in the community. And probably also, if somebody could just give a call to these platforms, that's, they have witnessed this denial of right of this person, of this woman, or this woman is mistreated, or this woman is denied of her rights, and simple call from an unknown person. That kind of mechanism could also be created the way we have for accidents or for other cognizable offenses. So that kind of system could be created, and these numbers could be highlighted of all these platforms. I think we have a long way to go, but then that's the way ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And rightly said that we have a long way to go. And what you have put forward, that the framework has to be created. That is very, very much essential in this scenario now. And we have gone through this UGC framework of accessibility, and it was really a very good document. And here I just would like to put forward that as you have said that in no university they do assess the need. In Amity University, I just would like to inform all of you that Amity University, in their own humble way, they do the need analysis of the persons with disability. After admissions, we have a disability board where the students with disability who take admissions, we assess their need and demand, what are their support needs, and we match match the department's need, and then we call the parents and we call the student and we ask them that what are the areas you need support during your university life, and all those things are provided. In Amity University, we do a part of the admission program of this. Thank you. And then now I would like to go to our next panelist, Dharial sir. Sir, you must have seen so many of the cases and so many this type of who have come the intersectionality of the cases. First of all, my own interest, I would like to ask that, do you think that the developmental disability cases are more, or the sensory disability cases are more of this legal inheritance right? That is one small question from me. And another, sir, please highlight the schemes available for empowering women with a disability. Over
Highlight what?
The schemes available, sir, for empowering.
Okay. Based on my experience as State Commissioner and Deputy Chief Commissioner Disability, I have found the cases of course, developmental disabilities, also people with blindness and locomotor disability. Not many cases, but a few. The typical thing is, say, for example, for developmental disabilities, the parents generally are worried what will happen after them, and during their lifetime, they generally are busy doing those things in the inheritance, and they try to save the money, put in the bank, or do something like that. So not many, but then one major issue that came to me, two major issues that came to me. One, big industrialist, another also well off. Uh, in both the cases, one daughter was not uh, being allowed, being given the right to the properties, the houses. They are big industrialist house, and the mother was fighting, uh, and mother's father was fighting, and ultimately, recently they got an order in their favor. But then it took so much of time. The mother is well educated, and they had the support of, say, CCPD office. They used to come to me, and that's the case. But then poorer families, the people with poorer family background hardly come to the authorities, to the platform, to the say district legal services authorities or state legal services authorities. They don't reach. There could be two reasons. One, uh, they are not aware about it. Then second, they don't have much to, uh, much property or something like that, that they fight for it. They are so much busy in making their ends meet, daily needs meet. And I have seen people, at least a person with blindness and all this, the other family members, even parents would say, no, why to this blind son? The property should go to the, because they have some time in the back of their mind that a person with disability is son or a daughter. I'm talking about all these are, this is son, the earlier one was daughter. Uh, he won't be able to use this, and what is it? Probably he won't marry. So why property? So these are the mindsets. There is a lot of, as Madam Guha said, need to have to conduct research. What are the reasons, and then we tackle them, and in different ways. These will require different strategies. One very important thing that I feel is that awareness. Of course, we have already said we need to do advocacy with the government. We need to do advocacy in the community for coming up with awareness campaigns. There is a provision in the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act that appropriate authorities will conduct that campaign, awareness campaign. Unless you have that campaign, it will be difficult to create that kind of awareness. And we should activate the district legal services authorities and state legal services authorities to creating that legal awareness. That is in fact their duty. And then of course State Commissioner for Persons with Disabilities also. If you can do that, what will happen? We should also go to the government and do advocacy and ask for making inheritance specific and women empowering schemes. Right now, we have some schemes for women with disabilities, but these are scholarship schemes. I'll talk about the schemes and all this. So, but we need to have that awareness campaign kind of thing, and then find out surveys. Where are there any problems? Are there any problems with some people, so that we can sort them out? We can assist them, help them. Now, coming to the schemes, if I look at the schemes of, say, Women and Child Development or Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities, all the schemes that have been made are for women or for people with disabilities. They are applicable and available to every person with disability and every woman. But specifically for women with disabilities, there are not enough schemes, except that the scholarship schemes of Department of Empowerment of Person, basically primarily, I would say, primarily these schemes say, okay, say for example, overseas scholarship scheme, 6 scholarships are reserved for women with disabilities. Similarly, the other scholarships, there is some certain percentage of these schemes or scholarships will go to the children with disabilities or students with disabilities. But specifically, there is not one. But one very important thing I find useful for women in general, and women with disabilities in particular, is RMK, that is RMK, Rashtriya Mahila, yes, Rashtriya Mahila Kosh. They have very good schemes of empowering women. And I think the organization, because of a number of cases of women with disabilities in the Chief Commissioner's office, is well, say, sensitized to disability issues. Their schemes, because it is basically the empowerment through financial well-being. Financial empowerment is very, very important. So they have skilling and loaning, etc. So if women can, and women manage so well. I have one example of in CBM where there is a cooperative. There are cooperative banks, not banks, but cooperatives. They collect the money, and all of them, all the people who are working in that cooperative are women, and 35 to 40% are women with disabilities. There has been, it is in Betul, in Madhya Pradesh, and also in Nagpur. I had gone there once. And Subhash, that is the place where we sent one laptop. So, so that concept and that small idea is making a lot of change in the lives of the people. All women manage. So this kind of, and women, the Rashtriya Mahila Kosh can help, because that it has been set up primarily for it. And when we have a scheme for women, we must ask for women with disabilities. Why not 4%, 5% for them? Because there is a provision. The intent of the act is very clear that 5% of the poverty alleviation schemes, 5% of the land allotment, etc., will be given to people with disabilities. And very specifically, I become so happy to read that with priority to women with disabilities. So that will make a lot of difference. But we have to do advocacy. Government is doing that, but then, as Suhas and everybody said, that yes, we have very good laws. There is huge gap between that law and its implementation. If you want me to read out or enumerate all these schemes, there are a number of schemes of women and women empowerment schemes, Beti Bachao, then women helpline schemes, then Ujjwala schemes, then you have Swadhar, Nari Shakti Purushkar. This, of course, will have to be, there's a big documents, Mahila Shakti Kendras, Nirbhaya scheme, Mahila police volunteers and all this. But some of the numbers, the women helpline numbers should be known to everybody. I think you can flash them. Women helpline for all India is a 1091. Most of every woman should know it, particularly women with disabilities. Then domestic abuse, for domestic abuse 181, police 100. Then National Commission has its number. I can share these numbers if you want, and probably you all may be knowing about them. There are schemes, but we need to advocate and ask for specifically mentioning women with disabilities, that intersectionality, so that there is proper focus, proper attention, and specific, provision in that. The accessibility issues, the support issues, activating the district legal services authorities to help these women with disabilities. So that um, that is very important. Otherwise, it will be difficult for women with disabilities, particularly from the remoter areas, villages, and tribal areas, to access this. There will have to be a link between the platform, between the facility, between the system that you have created, the infrastructure that you have created, and the person who is the women with disability, girl with disability, who is in a very remote area, may not be accessible, may not be, it may be difficult for, even if accessible, it will be so difficult for that girl or women to reach to that place. So there has to be a sort of infrastructure or people who can reach out and help them.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And you have very wonderfully brought out that there are schemes and all, but the advocacy is required. And I'm sure the participants who are the young professionals of disability rehabilitation, you must all of you must spread this awareness, spread this advocacy, spread the helpline number. There are no existing schemes also should be used by women with disability. And all the young professionals, you are the stakeholder who can popularize it. So I think all the audience, our students, they must have taken note of it. Thank you so much, sir, for putting forward this. Now we will go to the next panelist, Sri Jitendra P.S. Solanki.
If you, madam, if you permit me,
Yes.
can I leave? I have to go to I'm at home. I have a
Okay,
small
sir,
meeting.
if any
Can I leave?
if any questions come, we'll forward it to you after this. There will be a question answer
Forward,
session.
or I'll be on my mobile.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so
I'll
much, sir,
join.
for your.
I'm very sorry. I have to leave. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, next question is for our next panelist, Jitendra P.S. Solanki. The question is that how can women with disability plan their finances to become financially independent? Over to
Right.
you, Jitendra.
Yes, see, it's very important. The financials are, I would say a pillar, for many women with disability. Now, social rights and economic independence are two pillars where, we thrive. And financially, if we are not secure enough, then whatever, we plan, if the finances are not available, every plan, will go haywire. I meet a lot of families. Now let's divide into two segments. One, you already have a woman who with a disability, and she is already into an adult phase. Okay, and one, you have parents who have got a special need daughter, right? And they have a long life to plan for their daughter. Now awareness, one, is required at both levels. Second, financial planning is important at both levels. Financial planning, when you are talking about, see, the legal inheritance, as far as concerned, it's all about inheriting property from your family, from your parents, right? What properties are going to come, or what movable asset you are going to inherit, right? That will form part of your planning aspect, that this is the money available to me. But when it comes to financial planning, the most important is, are women per se, with disability aware about that, what is the kind of money they require, and whether what they are receiving, is that going to be enough? If not, then how do they are going to plan? Because we are talking about, say, we are talking about 20 years, 25 years, 30, 45 years of lifetime ahead. So if the planning aspect has to be done considering the entire future. So whatever money we have today, or whatever is going to be earned in the future, how it is going to fulfill the financial requirement today, tomorrow, and thereafter, right? So unless and until that planning is done, it is going to be really difficult to match the kind of expenses we are going to look at in the future, right? If I don't have that much amount of earning coming, how do I meet my expenses? And at a scenario will come where I reach to a negative cash flows. So financial planning is not about, investing your money. Financial planning is more about identifying that requirement, that financial requirement. So when a parent comes to, us and he say about, we have got a special needs daughter and the daughter with intellectual disability and we want to plan for her. So the planning has to start at a very early stage. See, the inheritance is going to, when it is going to come, we do not know. It might come, at a very late stage in the life. But the planning has to start very early because you might not have resources available today, right? The inheritance coming will add to your resources. But if you do not have resources today, how do you going to accumulate in the future? And we all know, even in general life, we all know that all of us are not at a situation where we are talking about that suddenly some big inheritance will come in and all my financial requirement will be met. Whatever I have to meet, if I am a parent, whatever I have to meet my daughter requirement from my resources. If I am already at a stage, whatever I have to meet, I'm an adult stage, whatever I have to meet, I'm going to meet from my own resources. There is nothing which is going to come, per se differently. And if we want to accumulate, we have to give enough time, for our money to grow. So financial planning is very important. The finances are very important. Inheritance, when we are talking about inheritance, I always say that inheritance is something which you will receive after your parent demise. You are not receiving before that. Before that, whatever you are planning, it's planning from yourself. So you have to ensure that you have enough of resources. And suppose the inheritance situation comes in. We all know in India that disputes lingering for years, right? If it goes into a dispute lingering for years, what about those expenses? So a woman with disability, right? So first she has to plan for her own expenses, how she's going to meet it in the future. Plus she has to overheads, like if the dispute has to be finally, fight in the court, whether you have enough of expenses or not, to pay to the lawyer, to pay to other fees, right? To pay to other professionals. All this, if it is not planned, it is going to be very, very difficult. We have families who have almost retired now, okay, and they want to plan for their children who are intellectually disabled. We are finding out the money what they have accumulated is falling short of meeting the financial requirement for the child, because they have their own requirement also. So financial planning has to be done early in life, and it's not only about that saving, it's about identifying those future expenses which might come up in the future, right? We are all talking about legal inheritance, but what if it is in a dispute? Who is going to pay off those expenses? If I have to pay from my own pocket, I have to be well prepared for it, right? So I have to foresee that, I am in a big, so and so family. These are the, things, these might come up in the future. So when a person with disability, when we are planning for them, when we are looking at financially, we are taking all the financial requirement which might come up in the picture. Tomorrow they may be expensive when you are relocating to a different place. Tomorrow they may be expensive, for some legal work. Tomorrow they may be expenses, you might to do a house renovation. All of these are expenses, which is the lump sum expenses which might come up in the future, apart from the monthly regular expenses which keep on increasing. Healthcare expenses, the more and more you add on healthcare expenses, the more and more monthly requirement, goes up. So where you are going to meet all these requirements, have you planned for it? You need to identify these and ensure that your resources, whatever you are earning, are keeping up with your financial requirement. And with respect to inheritance, if it's a simple inheritance, things might be easier. But as we are talking about, if it's a dispute, you have to really fight the battle. There are a lot of expenses going to be involved in that. So you have to prepare well for it. So financial planning is really, really important. And everything is well. If you don't have enough finances, that's what we are talking about, that if you don't have enough money, A woman with disability, as I said in the first beginning, social rights and economic independence are the two pillars, right? And for an economic independence, I need to have money in my hand, to do everything in my life. And for that money, first, I need to know that what is the amount of money I require. Similarly, for the parents, see, inheritance, if I am, capable enough of managing inheritance, I would know my, law. As far as parents, families are concerned, this inheritance awareness has to be built in right from the beginning, right? They are going to plan for their daughter tomorrow. They are going to plan that how they will, ensure that their assets go to the daughter or their assets are equally divided between them. Now, their, special need daughter might require more money. Can they plan for it without, getting into a dispute kind of a scenario? So all that advisory is required. And as I said in the beginning, it is on the supply side also, you need professionals who can help families plan finances, who can help families advise them that this is how you should plan about inheritance. When you have a family member with a dependent, with a person with a disability, this is how you should plan about your succession. If this awareness can go in, it will really do well at the beginning stage, not at a stage when already the dispute has arises.
Thank you so much. And with the second round of questions, it has come out that the main thing is the awareness. Main thing is to connect to the parents. Main thing is to give them education, and also it should be linked with the poverty reduction rights. And I think now we will go for the question answer session, Sampurna, because 10 minutes are there. You can take audience questions.
Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. So now comes the very critical round of audience and participant question answers. So we have a question by one of the participants, which I would like to pose to Shri Subhash Chandra Vashish sir. Sir, we have been deliberating on the need and importance of legal inheritance over the past, in this particular session, over the past few minutes and hours. A few participants still want a little bit more in-depth understanding of the term inheritance. So can you please elaborate on that, sir?
Thank you. Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. See, this is, thank you for this very, this very basic term, very basic term, inheritance. See, what happens is, if I say in terms of Hindu Succession Act, there's a term called coparcenary interest that has been used in the law. And the coparcenary interest or coparcenary property is a property which is like interstate ancestral property acquired by members of Hindu undivided family. So basically, somebody has died without any will. You call that interstate, and that ancestral property. So we see how it gets devolved into other members. And you inheritance is basically you inherit through this coparcenary interest, which the women today have an equal right as a son. And other ways of inheritance can be through will, through donation. You sort of give an NOC and transfer your or as a gift deed. So there are various legal mechanisms through which the properties can be transferred. And inheritance would be, usually the word inheritance is used in terms of where you get it through in case of interstate ancestral property, so that you have a right there. But if it is my self-owned property, then it is me as a person who would decide what I want to do. If for example, I am a parent and I have my self-acquired property, it's not like inherited property from my forefathers or from any other source. It is my self-acquired property. Now here, if I have other kids, or if I have kids or I have other, legal heirs, I would say in Hindu Succession Act, typically we have class 1 legal heirs as per Section 8 who have priority over all other legal heirs. And if I have that, and if I die intestate, my own self-acquired property, but I die intestate. Intestate is without any will, without giving it in form of a legal writing to somebody, then the class 1 legal heirs would be entitled to that share. So I'm sure most of you would be aware of how class 1 legal heirs are. I mean, usually you have son, daughter, widow, mother, son of a predeceased son, daughter of a predeceased son. So in that sequence, you have these class 1 heirs, and this, if I tell, I mean, this is like the list is pretty long, but these are class 1 heirs who get first access to that property. If I don't die intestate, then it is up to me. Absolutely, it's up to me what I want to do with the property. Yeah, I can give it to only my disabled child. I will excuse all others. I won't give anything to anybody else. So this is how inheritance operates. And if there is any, and this is how, and in personal interest, what happens is, for example, it is a property which is coming from through inheritance through my forefathers or my legal heirs that I just said, and the person did not do any will, as I said again. So here, the issue was after this amendment in 2005, before that it was only sons who were the co-partners. But after 2005, daughter is also a co-partner in the Hindu undivided family. So by merely by taking a birth in that family, the girl or the daughter also becomes, whether it's disabled or not, that is immaterial. As a daughter, as a woman, she has a complete right as a son. Another issue is of full ownership of rights. So the kya hota tha ki the woman would have only a some share. If you look at the earlier laws where the woman had a share equal to the son, the mother would have a share equal to the son. Now, under Section 14 of this Act, you have full ownership. So that means every woman would have full ownership of rights or any movable or immovable property if she possesses through acquisition, whether she has acquired it before marriage or after the marriage. And typically these the properties that women usually have is through inheritance, through what she gets through the partition, what she gets through the maintenance, or gifts from relatives or non-relatives, or she has earned through her own skill and she has purchased, or she has a stridhan. So all that is her property, and she has full ownership of those properties. I hope that makes it clear. I can further ask, sort of respond to question if there is any very specific question about this.
Thank you, sir, for giving us a very detailed insight of what the term inheritance means. And I think this answers the question raised by the participants. So moving on to the next question that we have received and this is directed to Solanki, sir. Sir, one of the participants wishes to know how can she teach her daughter who is in the secondary class about financial planning? Your very brief views on this. Sir, please unmute, sir.
Yeah, can you repeat the questions? Her daughter is in?
Yeah, her daughter is in a secondary class, sir, and she wants to teach her about financial planning, daughter with disabilities.
Okay. So, see, if you want to teach her about financial planning, so there are a lot of material which is available, right? Now, the basics of financial planning is, first you start with teaching children about, budgeting. That how do you budget? How, what do you mean by expense? What is income? And what is saving. These are the basics of financial planning. Financial planning per se, is a lot of larger area we are talking about, where investment is also there, insurance is also there, other aspects are also there. But I think when you are teaching to your children, start with the basics of budgeting. If they can learn budgeting, probably they would learn other areas also. So if you want to teach your child financial planning, teach basics about budgeting. Then if they are able to grasp it, then you move to other area. And when I talk about budgeting, teach them, how do you make an expenditure, teach them how do you save money, and teach them, how do you, what do you mean by earning, and how do you actually save money, what do you do with the saving of money. So start with this, then move to other area. And if you will get to know it, if they are able to grasp it, they are learning it, then you can move other aspect that, okay, if you have saved money, then you move to a aspect of, goal, that this is the goal. Now you have to save money and you have to, reach a goal. Now these are the basics. We have done a lot of programs on teaching kids about money management. Okay. And these are the certain basics. Learn, you can join those programs, you yourself first understand that what do you should teach about money, join one of these programs and then inculcate it when you are teaching your child. But uh, for a child, even otherwise, we all parents teach our kids starting with that piggy bank. The money is being deposited in piggy bank. You make a goal. Okay, you have to buy after 1 year this thing. So just keep on depositing. That's the best starting point to teach your kids about money. Make a goal, uh, have a piggy bank, ask your kid to deposit, certain amount of money so that, if he reaches, to buy that goal. Make that starting point. If she can grasp that, then you move to other aspects of money management.
Thank you, sir, for again highlighting the importance of money management from the very households. Now we have the last participant question for respected Aloka ma'am. Ma'am, one of the participants wishes to know that how can legal inheritance rights protect women with disabilities from abuse? Your brief views on that, ma'am.
uh, Legal inheritance rights cannot per se protect from abuse, but it can empower and strengthen the person in terms of her social standing, not only within the family, but within the community as well. As I said earlier, inheritance needs to be seen as part of poverty reduction. So when you deprive a woman her inheritance rights, you are actually diminishing her even further. Uh, Ownership of land, ownership of any movable, immovable properties strengthens you financially, and financially, economically, you have a better status within the family. I remember one girl that I worked with in a particular village in Tamil Nadu, where this woman had mobility issues. Both her legs were not functional, but she used to make wonderful idlis. And she had a family who treated her very badly, who her own mother was aware of the uh, abuse that she faced, both physical and verbal, inside the family, but could do nothing because she herself was dependent on her elder son, who owned everything, because he was supposed to be looking after the elderly parents, and he took recourse to his status as a man of the house. So this girl started as a part of a microcredit program. We gave her enough money to start making idlis in the community. And she started with herself, just herself and her mother helping. And she would make about, say, 100 idlis a day. And her idlis were so good that people stopped, and reasonably priced initially, that everybody stopped making their morning breakfast idlis in their homes, and they would come and buy from her. So she reached a stage where she was actually employing her brother, her brother's wife, the brother's children, and the mother also. She was able to pay everybody. She became the biggest earner in the family, and she could then ask through the district magistrate for inheritance rights of the property, the little land that her father had left her. So empowerment and freedom from poverty are linked together. They do not automatically assume importance or lack of abuse, but it just goes together very well, hand in hand, that the stronger you are financially, whether it's your father's money or joint family, you become more important in the family. And with that financial importance comes social status.
very rightly pointed out, ma'am. Thank you for those wonderful closing remarks. And this also gives a very important message to the participants that financial strength empowers you. So with this, we have come to an end of a very, very crucial discussion on legal inheritance rights of women with disabilities, a very neglected but a very, very important arena where awareness needs to be created. As Solanki sir had mentioned, awareness is needed for financial planners. As respected Aloka ma'am mentioned, the need for multicentric studies and the need for understanding about legal guardianship. As Dharyal sir pointed out, that more and more awareness is needed and stronger laws need to be in place. And as Subhash sir pointed out, that accessibility is key and a stronger framework is needed. So with this, we all hope that the participants have gained very, very important understanding of the need for legal inheritance. And now is the time for me to propose a formal vote of thanks for all the respected panelists, Sri Subhash sir, Dr. Aloka ma'am, Sri Jitendra Solanki sir, and Sri T.D. Dharyal sir for joining us in this very, very important panel discussion, sharing your expert views with all the participants and enriching us about legal inheritance rights for differently abled women. I also thank respected Director Madam Professor Jayanti Pujari ma'am for organizing and moderating this wonderful panel discussion. I thank the entire research team, all the zonal coordinators who have joined us in this crucial panel discussion. I also thank respected Srivastava sir and all the faculty members of AIRS for joining us and supporting us in this panel discussion. I thank NCW for giving us this wonderful opportunity to understand about legal inheritance rights. And lastly, I thank all the participants for joining us for this very, very crucial learning session. So with this, a very good morning and a very thank you to all of you. Over to you, Jayanti.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am, Aloka ma'am. Thank you so much. And this is the beginning, as you suggested, we will go many more up in this area for the research and webinars. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.